You ever notice how somewhere around 30, your friend group just disappears? Like one day you're hanging out with 5 guys regularly, and then suddenly it's been 3 months since anyone texted the group chat. And when someone finally does, it's just to share a meme. No plans, no hey, wanna grab a beer? Just digital tumbleweeds. If you're nodding along to this, you're not alone. There's actual research showing that men's friendships crater harder and faster than women's as we age. And the reasons why are way more interesting than you think. I'm talking about studies from Oxford, Harvard, and UCLA that reveal exactly why this happens to almost every guy, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it before you end up like that dude who only talks to his barista and considers his Uber driver a close personal friend. This is actually why I built thecouncil.chat. Because when you don't have close friends to give you honest feedback about your patterns, you end up stuck in your own head, making the same social mistakes over and over without realizing it. The Council is 9 AI advisors who know your actual personality, not generic advice, but insights based on real personality assessments you take. They remember your conversations, they push back when you're being unrealistic, and they won't just tell you what you want to hear. It's like having a group of smart friends who actually know you, except they're available whenever you need them, and they won't judge you for admitting you feel lonely. You get the strategist who helps you plan social interactions, the psychologist who explains your attachment patterns, the challenger who calls out your excuses. 2-minute sign-up, no credit card required. You'll see the landing page with all 9 council members. Take a quick personality calibration and get real analysis of your blind spots. Because sometimes you need outside perspective to see what's actually happening in your social life. The Council.chat, link in the description. Here's what's actually happening. There's a study from Oxford that tracked friendship patterns across age groups, and it found something fascinating. Women's friendships tend to survive major life transitions. Men's friendships don't. When guys get married, have kids, or change jobs, their friendships basically evaporate. Why? It comes down to how men and women approach friendship differently. Women maintain what researchers call face-to-face friendships. They talk about personal stuff, they share emotions, they create intimacy through conversation. Think about how women catch up. They'll spend 3 hours at brunch talking about relationships, work stress, family drama. The conversation is the friendship. Men typically have what psychologists call side-by-side friendships. We bond through activities, playing basketball, working on cars, gaming together, going to bars to watch sports. The conversation happens around the activity, but the activity is what brings us together. Here's a perfect example. You probably have that one friend from college where your entire relationship was built around playing FIFA and ordering pizza. You'd spend hours together, but if someone asked what you talked about, you'd be like, the game, I guess? The problem is, side-by-side friendships are incredibly fragile. They depend on logistics. When life gets complicated, when you move suburbs, when you have kids, when work gets crazy, when your back hurts too much for pickup basketball, the logistics fall apart. And unlike women, most men never learned how to maintain friendships through conversation alone. We need the activity as the social scaffolding. Remove the activity, lose the friendship. It's like trying to maintain a building after you've removed the foundation. Let me paint you a picture of how this actually plays out. You're 28, living in an apartment with 2 roommates. Friday nights are automatic. Someone always suggests going out. Your social calendar fills itself. Then life happens, you get a promotion that requires longer hours. Your girlfriend becomes your fiancé, then your wife. Maybe you buy a house in a different neighborhood because that's what adults do. Suddenly hanging out requires coordination. Hey guys, want to grab drinks Friday becomes a negotiation. Can't date night? Wish I could, but Sarah's sister is visiting. Maybe next week becomes next month becomes we should really hang out soon, and soon becomes never. The group chat goes quiet except for occasional memes and birthday wishes. You tell yourself it's temporary. Everyone's just busy, but then you realize it's been 6 months since you hung out with anyone one-on-one. A year since you had a conversation about anything deeper than work or the weather. 2 years since anyone called you just to talk. And here's the insidious part. You don't even notice it happening until it's too late. It's like gaining weight. One day you look in the mirror and think, when did this happen? Except instead of 20 extra pounds, it's complete social isolation. You went from having 5 close friends to having 0 without making a conscious decision about any of it. But here's the part that'll mess with your head. The loneliness isn't just about missing your friends. It's rewiring your brain in ways that make it harder to form new friendships. Researchers at UCLA found that chronic loneliness activates the same neural pathways as physical pain. Your brain literally interprets social isolation as a threat to survival. And when your brain thinks you're under threat, it goes into protection mode. You become more suspicious of new people, you're quicker to assume rejection. You overthink every social interaction. Was that guy at the gym being friendly, or was he just being polite? If I suggest grabbing coffee, will he think I'm weird? What if he says yes but doesn't actually want to? What if he says no? This creates what psychologists call a loneliness loop. The lonelier you get, the worse you become at socializing, which makes you lonelier. It's like social rust. The longer you go without using those connection skills, the more they deteriorate. And here's the kicker. Men are especially vulnerable to this because we were never taught emotional intimacy in the first place. We learn to connect through shared activities, not emotional vulnerability. So when we lose the activities, we don't have a backup plan, we just drift apart. There's also a pride component here. Admitting you're lonely feels like admitting failure, like you're broken or needy. So you pretend you're fine, you say you're too busy for friends anyway, you convince yourself you prefer being alone. But deep down, you know something's missing. You see other people's social media and wonder how they make it look so effortless. You watch movies about friendship and feel nostalgic for something you used to have but don't remember losing. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, marriage and relationships. There's this unspoken expectation that once you get serious with someone, your partner becomes your primary social outlet. And for many guys, that feels natural at first. Your girlfriend or wife is someone you can actually talk to about personal stuff. She fills the emotional connection gap that male friendships often miss. But here's the problem. Putting all your social and emotional needs on one person isn't fair to them or sustainable for you. Your partner can't be your best friend, your therapist, your adventure buddy, and your drinking companion all at once. And when relationship problems arise, which they do in every relationship, you have no one to talk to about it. You can't exactly vent to your wife about your wife. This is where women have a huge advantage. They maintain their friendships through relationship changes. They have girls' nights, group chats, people they can call when they need to process something. Men, we outsource our entire social life to our romantic partner and call it love. Then we wonder why we feel so isolated when things get tough. I know guys who literally don't have a single person they could call if their marriage hit a rough patch. Their entire support system is the person they're having problems with. That's not romantic. That's a recipe for disaster. And don't get me started on what happens during divorce or breakups. Women lean on their friend networks. Men realize they don't have one. They end up processing major life trauma completely alone because they never maintain friendships that could handle that kind of conversation. Here's another trap guys fall into. Thinking work colleagues count as friends. You spend 40-50 hours a week with these people. You grab lunch, make jokes, maybe get drinks after big projects. It feels like friendship. But here's the reality check. Work friendships are usually circumstantial and conditional. They exist within the context of the job. When someone leaves the company, how often do those relationships survive? Almost never, because they weren't really friendships. They were pleasant working relationships. Real friendship requires vulnerability, and vulnerability at work is often career suicide. You can't tell your work buddy about your marriage problems, your financial stress, your existential crisis about whether you're wasting your life in corporate America. You can talk about sports, weekend plans, maybe some light complaining about management. But the deeper stuff, the stuff that actually matters, off limits. So you spend most of your social interaction time in relationships that feel connected but aren't actually intimate. It's like surviving on junk food. It fills you up but doesn't nourish you, and because you're getting some social interaction at work, you don't feel the urgency to build real friendships outside of it. Until you retire or change jobs and realize you don't actually know any of these people beyond their work personas. I've seen guys retire after 30-year careers and suddenly have zero social contact because they confused colleagues with friends for 3 decades. So what do you actually do about this? First, accept that adult male friendship requires intentionality. It won't just happen anymore like it did in college. You have to schedule it like you schedule everything else important. Pick one guy from your past you actually want to reconnect with. Maybe it's your old roommate, a college friend, someone from your first job. Text him. Not a meme, not a hey, how's it going? A specific invitation with a specific time. Want to grab coffee this Saturday at 10 a.m.? I know a good place downtown. If he says no, try someone else. Don't take it personally. Everyone's dealing with this same logistical nightmare. Second, lower your standards for what counts as friendship. You don't need a best man or a brother from another mother. You need guys you can text occasionally and hang out with sometimes. That's enough to start. Friendship is a spectrum, not a binary. Third, find activities that naturally create repeat interactions. Join a gym class, play in a basketball league, find a hiking group, take a cooking class, join a book club. The activity gives you something to talk about besides your feelings, which makes it less awkward for everyone. And here's the key. Pick something you actually enjoy, not something you think will be good for meeting people. If you hate running, don't join a running club just for the social aspect. You'll quit, and you'll blame yourself for being antisocial when really you just picked the wrong activity. Fourth, this is crucial, when you do hang out with someone, end the conversation by suggesting the next time you'll meet. This was fun. Want to do it again next month? Lock in the next interaction before you leave. Otherwise, 3 months will pass, and no one will text first because everyone assumes everyone else is too busy. Fifth, start small and be consistent. Don't try to recreate your college friend group overnight. Focus on building one solid friendship at a time. Meet monthly, then bi-weekly, then weekly if it's working. Consistency beats intensity when it comes to adult friendships. Let's address the common obstacles because there are real barriers here. I'm too busy bullshit. You have time for Netflix, social media, and YouTube videos about why you don't have friends. You have 2 hours on Sunday morning. You have lunch breaks. You make time for things that matter to you. If friendship doesn't make that list, own that choice instead of pretending it's about time. I don't know how to make friends as an adult. Fair point. It's a skill you haven't used in years. Start with low-stakes interactions. Say hi to the same people at the gym. Make conversation with neighbors. Practice small talk with cashiers. It's like getting back in shape. You don't start with a marathon. What if people think I'm weird for reaching out? Some might. Most won't. And the ones who think you're weird for wanting friendship aren't people you want as friends anyway. Remember, almost every guy your age is dealing with the same thing. You reaching out might be exactly what they needed, but were too scared to do themselves. I don't have anything in common with people anymore, because you haven't tried to find common ground. You're assuming you have nothing in common based on surface-level interactions. Everyone has hobbies, interests, problems, goals. You just have to get past the weather and work talk. My wife out of girlfriend thinks it's weird that I want male friends. This is a bigger conversation about relationship boundaries and expectations. A healthy partner wants you to have a full, rich life that includes friendships. If they don't, that's relationship issue number 1. I tried and it didn't work out. So, one failed attempt doesn't mean the whole endeavor is hopeless. You didn't give up on dating after one bad date. Don't give up on friendship after one awkward coffee meeting. Here's what happens when you actually commit to this. The compound effect kicks in. One friend introduces you to another friend. The hiking group leads to a camping trip. The basketball league creates opportunities for post-game beers. Before you know it, you have multiple social contexts instead of 0. And this matters more than you think because different friendships serve different purposes. You need the friend who's good for adventure, the friend who's good for deep conversations, the friend who makes you laugh, the friend who challenges your thinking. No single person can be everything, and that's okay, but you need options. You need a social portfolio, not a social single stock. The other thing that happens is your social skills improve. You get better at reading people, starting conversations, maintaining relationships. You become someone other people want to be around instead of someone who drains energy from every interaction. And here's the unexpected benefit. Your romantic relationship gets better too. When you have other sources of social connection, you stop putting impossible pressure on your partner to meet all your emotional needs. You become more interesting because you have stories and experiences outside of work and home. You become more attractive because you have a life that doesn't revolve entirely around your relationship. This isn't about replacing your partner or loving them less. It's about becoming a more complete person who brings more to the relationship because you're getting needs met in multiple places. Look, male loneliness isn't a character flaw. It's a predictable result of how we were socialized, plus the logistics of adult life. The good news, it's completely fixable. You just need to approach it like any other problem worth solving. With intention, consistency, and realistic expectations. Most guys your age are dealing with the same thing. The only difference between guys who have friends and guys who don't is that someone had to reach out first. Someone had to make the effort. Someone had to risk the awkwardness. That someone might as well be you. And if you want help figuring out your specific patterns and blind spots around connection, that's exactly what the Council Taught Chat was built for. The Council knows your personality and won't let you make excuses. They'll help you understand why you self-sabotage social opportunities, what you're actually afraid of, and how to build the kind of relationships you actually want. Sometimes you need that outside perspective to see what you can't see yourself. Because the alternative, being 45 and having 0 people to call when life gets tough, isn't just lonely, it's dangerous. Men with strong social connections live longer, have better mental health, and report higher life satisfaction. This isn't just about having fun, it's about building the